show, 5 Sharp Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Marc. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. This segment is sponsored by Thinking Man Tavern, a cozy Decatur neighborhood pub. Grab a tasty beverage from a wide variety of selections and a plate of something delicious from the menu. To go, check out Thinking Man Tavern. Welcome to another episode of 5 Stripe Weekly, and yes, it's the international break. It's kind of that time where you kind of don't have a lot of football to watch, but it's if you're into international football, then yes, you have plenty to watch in that sense. And yes, Miles Robinson, Joseph Martinez, Ronald Hernandez, Caleb Wiley, and Tyler Wolff were part of the international setups. Miles Robinson, of course, with the U.S. men's national team, and of course Caleb Wiley and Tyler Wolff with the U20s U.S. youth national team. But Miles Robinson had a pretty decent last match. He definitely against Panama, he posted a 100% success rate for tackles, aerial duels, and ground duels. Yeah, definitely balling out, beasting like he does. It's good to see that he is, probably having a little bit more of an uptick in his form now after a couple of maybe questionable performances as, our Atlanta United center back, but definitely still deserving in the, in terms of part of the U.S. men's national team setup. But Joseph Martinez, Ronald Hernandez. Go ahead.
Yeah, they were. These were some high leverage games too for the U.S. This is the final round of CONCACAF qualifying. It's really that international break. It's like the one that's like the most intriguing because it's the end of the journey for some teams, and whoever's lucky enough to go through goes through. And so Panama's a tough team. Obviously, they kept the U.S. out of the last World Cup. I think going into that game, it was important that they got a win, and for Miles to perform so admirably at the back. While U.S., they won 5-1. It was comfortable in the end, but I think part of that obviously was good foundation, solid at the back, and so Miles obviously was excellent in that regard. And then before the game before that at Azteca, a game the U.S. should have won really. They held a clean sheet, versus Mexico at Azteca, which is not easy to do. And so, as you were saying, that's encouraging to see that from Miles, especially early in that game versus Mexico. He gave up a yellow card, and he saw that game out and didn't pick up a yellow versus Panama either, which I think would have made him unavailable for Costa Rica. So, good on Miles. Good to see it, I think too, like he'll be. We've been seeing him get better, and with the club, and I think that'll continue.
Yeah, and with Mexico, Tata Martino, he's getting some shouts for his head there, and so that'll be fairly interesting too if he can continue on. Although they might be okay as well. So. Maybe there might not be a change in the summer or anything, but it's getting a little dicey for him. Unfortunately, there's massive pressure being the Mexican head coach. So definitely, it's
and reports about his health too. So it's it's like maybe who knows. The World Cup might be the last. Might be the end of the road for Tata in terms of his career. I don't know, but so the reports of his health being under question is concerning as well. So and he's been a manager for a long time now.
Right, he has, and so definitely, hopefully, wish him all the best health-wise, and I hope he can continue on as the Mexican head coach too. I think he's done a hell of a job, and the fact that he stayed at this job way longer than any other job, pretty much, is pretty telling. That it's easy enough in a sense that it's not so demanding on a day-to-day basis, but still, Moving on from that, yes, Joseph Martinez, Ronald Hernandez also played during this international window and unfortunately lost 3-0 to Argentina. Caleb Wiley and Tyler Wolff they were part of that setup that also played Argentina as well in the U20s. Yeah, maybe not so good either, but also Messi was watching the Argentine U20s. So, definitely maybe there's some added pressure there for all of the players to, try to impress the old wily goat. But, yeah. Beyond that, there's definitely a lot more international football to be played. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see who will, move forward and who will be left out, unfortunately. So, but yeah, always great to have our boys be part of the setup and hopefully not get injured. So that's the key there for us, right, I think. But yeah, going into some other news, Atlanta United Foundation, they opened the first mini pitch, part of the statewide Georgia 100 campaign to bring soccer to local communities. And yeah, 4 players from the first team traveled to Brunswick, Georgia to take part of that event. Brad Guzan, George Campbell, Thiago Almada, and Machop Chol. And yeah, definitely great to see this really good thing for the community to build more pitches essentially across the state. Brunswick's pretty far down there, so yeah, I don't know if there was like a bus for them, but that is a long trip that I am usually unwilling to take. I generally don't like very long trips in Georgia. But
right. It's good to see the club doing that level of outreach too, like not, going that far out in Georgia. I mean, Georgia's a big state, so yeah, it's really cool to see those kind of initiatives, like, show how, see the club ingratiate themselves with the community in that sense.
Indeed. And moving on from that, Atlanta United 2, they also announced the signing of Academy defender Noah Cobb. And that was for the 2022 USL Championship season. Yeah, Cobb is 16 years old. And yeah, he's joining not only from the... he has previously played with the U12s all the way through the ranks. And so, he was part of that also Academy U14 side that won the prestigious Manchester City Cup in 2019. So yeah, this kid, yeah, has a bright future in front of him. The fact that, yeah, he's joining at age 16 as an Atlanta United 2 player, and also the fact that, I mean, I'm calling that, like, maybe he's a regen player here, because what the hell? He's Noah Cobb, and he comes from Cobb County. And he will be playing in Cobb County. Okay, all right, man. You can't tell me that he is not a region player. If you know what I mean, yeah. With a FIFA, like, where they just, like, regenerate.
Or FM, yeah.
Yeah, or FM, where they regenerate just random names. This feels just a little too fishy, Like, come on. I joke in jest, clearly, but yes, congratulations to Noah Cobb, and yeah, hopefully we'll see him grow into an incredible defender for us. So that would be amazing. More of those, please. But moving on.
It's funny. I mean, like, you're seeing the pipeline in effect. It's of the academy. You know what I mean? Like, just the fact that they are not just, planning his future, like seeing the steps out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Atlanta United has a chance to build like a really strong academy, a leading academy in the U.S.
And yeah, so definitely much credit to Carlos Bocanegra for doing that. He is a big part of that, indeed. And so, there is credit where credit is due. Now, Atlanta United 2, they picked up the first win of the season with a 4-1 win over a 10-man Charleston Battery. And yeah, Jackson Conway, he scored his first USL Championship hat trick. And also 16-year-old Jonathan Vilal, he marked his first professional start with 2 assists. Definitely great to see Jackson Conway getting on the score sheet 3 times, no less. And yeah, that can definitely build some confidence for that target forward of ours who hopefully can start getting his way into the team, making the new Ronaldo that we have maybe sweat a little bit, because obviously that player Ronaldo Cisneros is only on loan, so both of them have a lot to prove. So really will be interesting to see who will get a lot of those kind of backup striker minutes, along with Dom Dwyer, of course. And last bit of news for the week is that Atlanta United 2 announced its 2022 Special Olympics unified team. And yes, always good to see those special players get a nod in social media. And as well, the ambassadors this season will be Brad Guzan and Thiago Almada. I think that's probably wise. That's like something from the team that they're probably trying to, with Almada, it's a good look, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think also too, I mean, because he was there at the kickoff in Brunswick, and I think it's a good way to, I guess, for him to learn what the Atlanta United community is about. Like, I think these initiatives, the mini pitches, the unified team, I think these are great initiatives. I think it's something that should be encouraged. I think and it's something that the team should continue to do, because it is like, it shows how the club is still to the overall community, and Almada, and doing these events, can learn that, and meeting these kids, in meeting the people that made the pitch happen, for example. Like, you can see how it's important to them, and he can kind of learn what the soccer community is about here. I mean, like, I'm sure growing up in Argentina, like, when you're immersed in that sort of like soccer culture, like, you get it, like, you understand the emotion of it. And I think this is a good way for him to understand the emotions that go into this soccer community.
Well said. And actually, last bit of news, the real last bit of news, is that former Atlanta United goalkeeper Alec Can, he did an Instagram live recently, and kind of covered a lot of the past few years with the Five Stripes, of course, and how it was possibly the best years of his life. Mark, you were able to see a lot of it. What were some takeaways from Can in that IG live?
Yeah, so he sat down with his, I think, former teammate and friend, Richard Dixon, and they, spoke for about half an hour. It kind of talked about his career overall, the ups and downs in it. Like mentioned, when he got to talking about Atlanta United, mentioned that it was the best years of his career. Like, although, it was kind of bittersweet, because he was leaving Kansas City, and he sort of settled and carved out a role in MLS. But the chance to go back home was kind of special to him as well. Kind of mentioned, being coached by Tata Martino. Mentioned that he's one of the most genuine people that he'd I think come across in his career. And also talked about Brad Guzan a bit. Of course, Guzan came in halfway through 2017 and sort of took Alex's spot. And he said, of course, he had an injury at the time as well, and just kind of mentioned that, because was a class player, of course, and also a leader, and that was one of the things that he kind of learned from him. Keep in mind, Alicon played with Tim Melius, John Johnson, and so competing for a spot is something that's just part of being a goalkeeper in that sense. And so I would encourage y'all to check it out. It's Richard Dixon Official, I think, is his Instagram, and it's his latest post is that live with Alicon. But overall, like, he was just genuine. It was interesting to get that perspective of a player, and kind of what goes into a career, kind of some of the things you deal with behind the scenes and so on. And so definitely I'd encourage y'all to check it out.
Right, the life of a backup goalkeeper in MLS. It's definitely probably pretty fascinating. It's one of those. makes it like, I think it's like, say, baseball in like the bullpen. You got, the wacky guys. I would say, a lot of goalkeepers are pretty wacky as well, and so yeah, there's kind of like akin to those type of personalities usually. Although Alec Hand seems to be pretty much a straight shooter there, where he maybe isn't as wacky as some, but he is a guy that yeah, definitely if he's chilling with Brad Guzan, Guzan's a character, and I'm sure there's you gotta have some sort of kind of retort to be around him all the time. So, but
yeah.
Anyway, that does it for the news, and it gets us into our match preview. And this Saturday, April 2nd at 7:30 p.m. at Audi Field, Atlanta United will take on DC United. DC United are 7th in the East as of this moment, as of this recording anyway, which is full transparency on Monday, the 28th. But yeah, in terms of DC United, they are a team that, maybe they are kind of that team that are still kind of working out some kinks, even though, their head coach has them playing some decent ball at times. But the that right side is definitely their strongest, with Julian Gressel and Andy Nahar. But yeah, in terms of that overall talent, maybe not the deepest type of team. So they're that team that I think has lost some key members of their previous team last season. One of them being Paul Arriola. He of course moved on to FC Dallas. And, of course, Kevin Paredes as well. He was off to Bundesliga. So, yeah, definitely some key members there. They did bring in Michael Estrada, Taxi Fountas, and Brad Smith. So, yeah, all isn't just quite lost in terms of, talent out. There were some good guys that were brought in. But I think the... The pundits, they don't really feel as strongly. They're pretty much, across the board, they have them as high as 9th and as low as 12th. So, not a whole lot of variance. I mean, they're overperforming at the moment. It's still early yet in the season. They're one spot right below us. So, it's a lot to be yet to be seen, I would say. But our last 5 matchups against them, though, we have won our last 4. So we have kind of rectified that early kind of, really, really bad run of results against them when they were just our bogey team.
Yeah.
I think that contributed a lot because they were a more negative team back then. And now they're a team that are trying more or less to try to play. And that does kind of, go into our favor a little bit more so that we're not just facing a deep block all the time. So, definitely will be interesting to see how they set up on Saturday. I mean, you have been able to watch them a little bit. What are your kind of overall impressions of this DC United side?
Yeah, I was actually there for opening day versus Charlotte. They ended up winning 3-0, but I was sitting with the Charlotte fans, and Charlotte's fans' impression was that they played well and they were just unlucky. And honestly, it's hard to disagree with them on that. I mean, they had the ball in the back of the net first. It was taken off. It was chalked off because of offside. The following week, DC played Cincinnati, and again, Cincinnati had the ball in the back of the net first. Former 5-stripe Brandon Vasquez. But, it was chalked off, and then DC United got a penalty at the end. They lost to Chicago at home. Those were Chicago's first goals of the season. And they lost to Toronto, this time last week. So, I don't know. DC haven't been overall, all that convincing. Which I guess, neither have we. But... You know, like,
But
I was just
we're
going through
missing
their.
a bunch more people probably than they are, and so yeah, it's that. Like, do they really have enforcements to actually make this better? So
That's the thing, yeah. You know, like I definitely think there's a difference in. I mean, there's a difference in talent. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. Like you mentioned the key losses that they had, you know, and have they replaced that? It doesn't appear they have really as yet. Yeah, I mean, like I was, you know, obviously, like I always talk about XG. Their XG, they haven't had an XG of 2 as yet in a single game. Like, you know, their XG, I think the only reason it was over 1 versus Cincinnati was because of the penalty. Like, I don't know. I'm not, yeah, like I said before, I'm not entirely convinced by them. I mean, they have the 2 wins, but I just think Atlanta United at least has more talent than DC. I think that's fair to say.
yeah. And yeah, getting into what that talent looks like then, at least in 11 form put together, we'll predict who we got. So, Guzan between the sticks, who's in your back line?
Yeah, so in my backline, I have Hernandez, Robinson, Campbell in place of Franco and Gutman. You know, when Franco came off at halftime versus Montreal, the coach mentioned something in his knee or whatever. You know, will he be healthy? Who knows? But also, there's I think kind of the elephant in the room with him with his form right now. And to be honest, I can't think of a good reason for Campbell to sit based on form. So I think I would play Campbell and Robinson in the middle.
And yeah, I definitely I don't disagree with you there. I think that it would just be a bit harsh, maybe right now, to take him out, as you know he is that guy in terms of Franco. He is that guy that is paid the higher wage, and so he kind of gets some more outs. You know, I think Campbell has all of it in front of him too, so it's you know, I think you kind of let Alan Franco, you know, not exactly play his way out, but it is somewhat of that. But other than that, so I have Franco in. I have Lennon in instead of Hernandez, but Robinson and Gutman as the other defenders. Now into midfields, this could get interesting, but who do you have?
Yeah, so I have a midfield 3. I think, you know, especially at Audi Field, you know, we've broken the hex of Audi Field, which is good, but I still think, you know, in terms of a venue, it is a tough venue. You know, we'll see what they do with the grass. That tends to be a thing that they like to do.
Yeah. Dry it out, choppy.
I think for the mid. Yeah, a little overgrown. Right. Just taking that little bit of zip off the ball, right? So maybe it's something where, you know, we keep it a little bit compact, hence the midfield 3. I think you go with Alonso. You know, I think Sosa's close to returning, but as we kind of talked about before the show, maybe not quite ready to start. And then I would actually bring in Sejdic for this game. You know, just a little bit more grit, a little bit more box to box. And then I would have Moreno in there, you know, operating on the left of the 3, you know, combining on the wing, doing what he does best.
So interesting. Hosetu loses out, and is there a reason?
No, I just think for this game, you know, like it's just even though we've been doing well against DC United lately, like I still expect a tough game from them, especially at Audi Field. And I just think it's that kind of environment where you just want a little more steel in the midfield. Because I think, like, you know, Moreno, he works hard too, but I think he's more effective going forward. And so I think the Sejdic is just a little more solid going backwards.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have Alonso. I have Hosetu, kind of as that sort of double pivot a little bit, but. Yeah, Moreno likewise as well. He's more of that point of the that midfield there, and is my number 10. And yeah, I think that's a fairly hardworking midfield. I don't know if it's got all the steel that we need, but yeah, maybe Sosa is able to come in later and get some minutes and build more of his match fitness. I think that makes more sense for Sosa and him. Without that preseason, it's been probably something that if he is going to get minutes, it's going to have to be building his way back into the squad. But yeah, getting into the wingers then. Who do you got?
Yeah, so I have Lennon returning at right wing. I think it's again like kind of what I talked about before. Like he stretches the field. He's a crossing threat. So he's going to give you more space. And then like in theory, because of his experience as a defender, kind of makes you a little more solid on that side. And then I think Almada starts at left wing. Of course, we called for him to start the previous game, and I think he made his mark, and I think it's at a point where we just need our best players, or as many of our best players that are fit as possible. And so yeah, I think Almada comes in at the left wing. Of course, Joseph starts at striker, barring anything, any injury or anything of that sort.
Yeah, likewise, Joseph top, Almada on the left, and of course I had Lennon at right back, so I think Jake Mulroney gets the start at right wing, cutting in. Of course, who misses out here, at least for me, would be probably Tyler Wolff. To me, hasn't quite done enough to really, earn the starts week in, week out. I think Jake Mulroney has at least, deserved a look a little bit, at least in the meantime, while Luis Araujo is out. And so he definitely offers a little bit more of a goal threat than, than the former. So I think, yeah, Jake Mulroney gets that start, and, it is that. I think Tyler Wolff is a lot, very hardworking, and is a guy that, as a homegrown, he will get better and better, but he maybe just isn't really quite producing in the goals and assists department. And if he's playing forward, more forward, then he's gonna need to probably start producing some stuff in that regard. So yeah, I think with that type of attack, it's I think got the goods enough to take on this DC United side. Now, how well it will actually do, let's predict it. Mark, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I was kind of I actually was gonna say a draw at first, but I don't know, man. Like I said before, I just don't think DC have been all that good. And to be honest, I think this is a team that we can beat. I'm expecting a high scoring game, so I'm gonna go with 3-2. I think Atlanta United get the job done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely there will be a motivated Julian Gressel as always, and we definitely always see it with those first-time balls, those just really good delivery from Julian Gressel, and so yeah, hopefully we limit him. But obviously, any sort of set piece or corner, he will deliver a good ball. So we will have to try to limit that as much as possible and not make those mistakes that lead to those moments. But I think we got the goods as well. Maybe not as high of a score line. I think, yeah, with that break, we're probably still kind of working that chemistry with each other. So I think it's a 2-1 win against DC United. What do you guys think? Let us know in those comments below. But that is the match preview and pretty much the entire show except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, who should start at center back? I mean, we have George Campbell, we have Alan Franco probably battling out for those minutes. Miles Robinson is that out-and-out starter. Yeah, who deserves that nod, at least in the next match, and maybe the next couple going forward, we'll see. But yeah, definitely very interesting kind of positional battle going on at the moment with a George Campbell that is really proving himself so far early on in the season. So let us know in those comments below. We are looking forward to what you have to say. So guys, that is the episode. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Remember to Yeah, just give us all the love that you can. But yes, for Mark, I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching.